WJG Sports. We journal great.
What's up, everybody? Episode 41 of the Just Like Brothers podcast. As always, my name is Laika Abibi, live from my bedroom in Greenville, North Carolina. And alongside me, as always, is...
Kai Jones here from the WJG Sports Studio, a.k.a. my kitchen / dining room that we don't use. So, yeah, this is, we're going to talk a little bit about today about, awards. The All WJG basketball awards are now all out, as well as the All Area team.
Yes,
so
sir.
we'll go through and kind of let you know about our thinking process and how everything went.
Yeah, can't wait. Can't wait to talk about this. It was a very tough process. The WJG sports coverage area has incredible basketball talent, no doubt about it. Boys and girls, we got underclassmen that have performed at an extremely high level, all the way up to the senior class, the 2020 class, and we're gonna break down our award winners in all area and how everything goes down. So, Kai, if you'd like to introduce the first award we have and the finalists for the boys and girls.
All right, the awards finalists for the most improved player of the year for the girls. The finalists were, let me find there it is. The finalists were, of course, Jakia Brunson, Kalia Peacock, and Abby Thomas from CBA Cock. And Jakia Brunson, of course, came up with it. She really stepped up this year from a spot-up shooter to being a bona fide, number one threat as a point guard.
Yes, absolutely. The freshman from Wayne Country Day who contributed a lot to last year's Final Four, or the 2019 Final Four team, helped lead the Chargers back to the Final Four, where they were inches short of a state championship game appearance against a great O'Neal team.
Right.
And Jakia is here to stay for a while, and she's going to be one of the best players, boy or girl, in the area for the next 3 years.
Right. For the other finalists, Kalia Peacock, of course, she really stepped it up and proved that she could be a bona fide number one scoring option. Went from about 11 points a game to 15 points per game. Took more threes and made a higher percentage of her three-pointers, and really just overall improved as an entire player.
Absolutely.
And then, of course, Abby Thomas, for her.
She's good at every sport.
Right.
She's volleyball, basketball, even softball. I saw her play a softball game before this whole COVID-19 thing went down, and she's an incredible athlete. I agree with you. Abby was a huge contributor for ACOC this year. They made it to the playoffs, and she's only a junior too, so she'll be back next year, and ACOC will have a good chance to have another really good season in all three of those sports.
Right. And right, of course. Now, how we kind of looked at most improved players. We kind of just went around and looked at around some of the area of some of the all WJG performers who really had a chance to step up from the last year. Jakia, probably the reason why she won was because she made the biggest jump as a player. At Kalia Peacock, of course, like I said, she improved, and I think that next year she's going to lead Triple S to the playoffs. Her, along with Kayla Robertson, and Abby Thomas, of course, her and the Falcons went to the playoffs. So, it was tough trying to figure out who the candidates were, but I think overall, I think we did all right.
I think Jakia is a worthy winner, and those three are all worthy finalists. I think there are plenty of other players I can name that could win this award too. It's not just limited to three, but those three were the three that improved the most for sure, and Jakia definitely was the most improved.
Right. Going on to the boys list now, of course, the finalists for the most improved boys players were Nation Waller from Princeton, Devin Brown from Eastern Wayne, and Jaquan Curry from Wayne Christian. And Nation actually took the cake on this one. When you look at a guy who went from as a freshman to now a sophomore, went from a guy with a lot of talent to this year having to step up and be the man for his team. I believe he improved about 7 points on his average. Every single statistic for him went up. And just overall, just watching him, you could see that he had gotten a lot better on the floor.
Yeah, absolutely. Nation Waller, of course, it took him some time this season to see that he's really, really talented, and
Right.
he is capable of doing this on a nightly basis. And
Right.
I think once he started to figure that out, he started to really become a more complete player. He can score at all three levels, really athletic, can get up and down the floor, very good passer and rebounder as a guard, and does a lot of really good things. And he's one of the more underrated players in the state in the 2022 class.
Right. And when I look at it, Devin Brown, with his type of improvement, man, I mean, the stats don't really speak to how good he got overnight. I mean, well, not overnight, but in a year's time.
He was a very close second.
He really became a bona fide, stud, really. And you look at him, I think his stock improved so much because he had D3 offers. He had, I believe, he had NAIA offers as well, and he chose a JUCO route, but I don't think that particular JUCO would have been interested last year necessarily because
it's a great JUCO program too. Wake Tech, of course, he's now committed there, and I think Coach Wainwright and Coach Baker saw some things in him that he can bring to that program and try to improve on the incredible success they had this year. Devin, he had that huge 34 and 28 game against Goldsboro.
Right.
He's had plenty of games this year, including down the stretch of the season. He really took over against West Brunswick in the first round of the playoffs.
And became a really good rim protector as well.
Yes, he did. Yes, absolutely.
I think when you look at him, going the JUCO route was a great idea for him because JUCO allows you. Yeah. I mean, but when you look at the JUCO route, it can oftentimes be better than going the D3 route because, for one, you can transfer up to a Division I or Division II right away. You can play right away, and when you look at it, you have a chance to show college coaches at those levels that, hey, I can produce against college players. And that's kind of what we've seen this year with the transfer portal being so high. The JUCO players are going to get looks before high school seniors a lot of times because JUCO players have real college game film against college players. It's a huge difference.
I agree, but
and then of course we can't leave out Jaquan Curry.
Absolutely.
You look at him; he went from 14 points a game last year to 28 in 1 year.
Top scorer in the area this year for sure. I think he's
scoring title. He won our scoring title this year. Devin actually won our rebounding championship. When you look at just the way Jaquan is, he is one of the quickest guys off the dribble. Very good at creating separation. Very good at creating contact and getting fouled. As a sophomore right now, I think he has, there's a sky's the limit for him where he could possibly, end up, at a really nice place to continue his college basketball career if that's the route he goes. But of course, he is a football standout as well.
Yes, absolutely. That kid can score. He's flat out scorer. Without him, I'm not sure how many games Wayne Christian wins without Jaquan Curry playing at his best. And of course, like you said, only a sophomore, correct? So
right, only a sophomore.
He's like the youth in this area. We got freshman and sophomore contributors at boys and girls basketball at every school. Just about has had an underclass contributor that's played great. And Jaquan is no different. He's just a kid that's really complete scorer and can also distribute the ball very well. Good creative off the dribble, can shoot it. I think he's in to improve his stock over the next several months, hopefully.
Right. Of course.
Next award. Right?
So what?
We're on to our next one, right?
Yep. Next one, we're going to talk about Girls Rookie of the Year. Now, of course, even though Jakia Brunson is a freshman, she's not eligible because she played varsity basketball last season. So this is only
And
for
she's the most
first.
improved player, so
Well, this is only for first-time varsity players.
that's
So
true.
yeah, I know. Yeah. First, this is only for first-year varsity players. You cannot win if you played varsity as an eighth grader or seventh grader.
All right, here we
All
go.
right.
Who are the
Now,
finalists?
so, Rookie of the Year for the girls. Number one, the winner is Anna Taylor from News Charter. The finalists, of course, were Dariana Howard from Clayton and Tanaya Glaspie from Southern Wayne. This one was probably the toughest award of the ones to pick because Anna Taylor and Dariana Howard were both very, 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 very good this year. This was
I don't
the
think that's enough very, Sky.
yeah. Both of them were very good. Making Region 5, all region team. That is extremely tough to do when you look at it. The talent from Wake County. So for two girls to make it from Johnson County is huge. But I think overall, what put Anna over Dariana slightly is when you look at it, being the first, being 57% from the three-point line, and then also looking at it, 104 made three-pointers, which is, according to Max Preps, the most of any girl in this state. Plus, playing, 1A basketball and being able to make that type of team is huge. For Dariana, I think, I think she has the most upside of any girl basketball player in this area.
Well, I don't have to say much. You kind of nailed it, bro.
Yeah.
But real talk, Anna Taylor, seeing her for the first time when they played Princeton, I know they ended up losing by 2. That was one of the best girls games we saw all year.
Right.
But Anna was just ridiculous. Lefty shooter, knock it down from anywhere, has range to the volleyball. She has range the minute she exits the bus and enters the gym. That's Anna Taylor. She's going to be another great player for a long time. We have the freshman girls in this area. Her, Jakia, Dariana Howard, like you said, has incredible upside, rebounds the ball well, great shot blocker, defends well, just in general, and really gets after it in the paint offensively as well. And she's going to be a standout for Clayton for a while. And but we also can't forget Tanaya Glaspie of Southern Wayne.
Right.
Southern Wayne had probably, I think they had the best public school record of anyone in Wayne County this year. They swept every Wayne County opponent they played, off the top of my head. But Tanaya was also feasted on the offensive glass and around the rim. She made a lot of huge hustle plays for Southern Wayne this year. And Southern Wayne's going to have most of their team back, and she'll be a big part of that. I think she almost averaged a double-double off the top of my head. Was it close?
She was close. Yeah, she averaged 8 points per game and 11 rebounds.
That's right.
Her hustle really just always stood out to me. Her energy, the way that she played the game of basketball, she played every single game like it was her last game. And, I always appreciate something like that. And being able to make an all-region team as a freshman is nothing to smirk at.
Yeah, that's, by the way, those, like you said, it's a rookie of the year. These 3 freshmen have all been huge to their team's success this year.
Right. Now, of course, on to the boys award. Rookie of the Year. The 3 finalists are Corey Faison from Goldsboro, Aiden Taylor from Princeton, and Albert Brown from Eastern Wayne. Now, Albert Brown, of course, is a sophomore, but he did not play varsity basketball last year. So
he's eligible for this award. And the winner is
Corey Faison. Who else could have been but Corey Faison? When you look at it, he was a second-team All-WJG guy, first-team All-County guy, 15 points a game. Some of his best games actually came against some of the best competition that they played. He is quite the special kid when it comes to playing basketball, man. He is something special to watch at 6'5", and being a freshman already.
Yeah, obviously he played more in the post this year for Goldsboro, but he has a lot of guard skills. He can really handle the ball well. He has stepped out to the three-point line and knocked down a few from there. Uh, I still remember this dribble move he put on like this kid in the playoffs against McMichael and hit a step back three over him. I was just like, what?
Yeah.
I had to make sure I processed that correctly. I was like, he did that? But Corey is one of the top prospects in our area, I think, as a freshman. And as long as we do have AAU basketball this summer, he will be playing for Team Curry, that's got to be pretty cool, right?
Right. Of course, Aiden Taylor is Jaheim Taylor's little brother, and I mean he's
not Jaheim Taylor's little brother. He's Aiden Taylor. That's how good he was this year. When, of course, his big brother did go down with the injury, he stepped in and played great in the starting lineup most of the time. I think he started. He really excelled in the pick and roll, like making reads out of the pick and roll. Every time I saw him, he was really impressive. Has incredible hustle. I remember their playoff loss to North Edgecombe. Ball's supposed to be going for a backcourt violation. He is at the opposite left, like between the block and the free throw line, full sprint to the other end of the floor, dives on the ball, saves it from going out of bounds to Nation Waller for a lay-in. And I was just like, yeah, this kid's going to be special. And he's going to be so good for Princeton over the next few years.
Right. He's a winner, man. Just watching him, he really got his he really made his due, of course, on the defensive end. You know, that's
absolutely. That kid was blocking. That kid was pinning shots to the glass, and I was like, what?
I mean, he's a shot blocker at his size. I mean, he's only 5'10". He's only 5'10", blocking shots really well. Very good defensively when it comes to quick hands and knocking the ball out from players. Can be very hard to get around because of his long wingspan.
I think he learned from Jaheim Nation and Tyrese Whitman. I think those three have really helped him like improve as a player throughout the season, even whether they were on the floor or not.
Right. I mean, then you look at it too. The last 2 summers, even though he was a middle schooler in the previous year, he was right there with Jaheim and all of them playing varsity basketball during the summer. So he's been being prepared for this as well. When you look at it too, I believe he also played 16U for AAU as well. So he's trained. He's built and ready to go for this. And I think next year with him and his brother and Tyrese and them, I think that they should, be able to be a major contender in the 1A. And, of course, moving on to Albert Brown, when you look at him from Eastern Wayne, I think he has a chance. I think at times he could have been Eastern Wayne's best player last year because of when you look at his size, you look at his ability to shoot the ball, you look at his ability to pass it as well.
He can attack him too.
Yeah, there's a lot of upside on him as he grows and matures. I think that Eastern Wayne is going to see that he's going to have to be leading that next generation of Hoopers. Him along with Amari Lathan coming up from the Eastern Wayne Middle School.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, Albert Brown on a team with a lot of very senior laden Eastern Wayne team this year. He was an underclassmen contributor that played excellent for them throughout the year. He's had a lot of big games. He's capable of consistently being a number 1 scoring option. But yeah, next year is going to be a different Eastern Wayne team with all the great players they have graduating. That's going to be him, Julian Silvestri, Amari Latham, like you said, Zay Hardy, and JJ Murray. Those guys are going to have to really step up next year on a team that's going to be a lot of Wayne County teams are going to look different next year, including them.
Right.
But yeah, Albert Brown's a big-time player for sure. Right.
And now moving on to Coach of the Year for
I like it. I like the transition. What you got? We did 5 nominees for this, correct?
Right, 5 nominees for this one, right. The 5 finalists were Marlon Lee, Robbie Taylor from News Charter, Maurice Jones from Wayne Country Day, Ricky Lofton from Southern Wayne, and Jay Poole from North Johnston. So
winner is
Marlon Lee. I mean, who else could lose a 2,000-point scorer, and even with the freshman stud come in, still find a way to win more games than he did the year before? What he did with that team was pretty incredible. A lot of people don't like the way they played, especially in the second half. It could be kind of hard to watch for some people, but hey, it won a lot of games. It finished unceremoniously against Hunt, but at the same time, we look at it, they were able to win a conference championship, and they would have had a chance to win the conference tournament championship had everything not gotten canceled.
I think that was actually weather related.
Yeah, that was weather related. Yeah, that one
Yeah.
was weather related. So yeah, would have had a chance to win the conference tournament. Got to the second round, which they didn't do last year. Coach Marlon Lee, he carved out his own way and he did it his way.
I mean, I'm not opposed to that pick at all. Coach Lee, he's got a great team. He's got a lot of really good players coming back. So I expect him to be right back in the conversation. Like you said, they lost to a Hunt team that had a historic season this year. But yeah, Coach Lee's going to be like you said, if you have a system that wins basketball games, I love your system.
Right.
That's what I say about systems like his, and how, like a slower pace and time clock. You're supposed to use everything to your advantage.
Right. Of course, second place was Robbie Taylor. When you look at it, went 16-5. And I think he just did a great job. I mean, Anna was a big part of News Charter's success, but I think he did a great job of constructing a system that could best use her. Because I think a lot of times it is very easy for a lot of coaches when you have a great player to just put the ball in their hands and let them create. But, he took the ball out of her hands, made her run off ball, let her be on ball when she wanted to, let her work in the pick and roll. She had a lot of chances to just kind of grow up, and I think he just did a great job, which, of course, it is his daughter, so I think he knows best of what to do to get her to free up.
I would think so. I would think that's a pretty I think I would think that as well. So,
and then, of course,
go ahead. I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead.
Oh, well, I was also going to shout out Ricky Lofton as well. He's improved their winning total over the last several years. Got to the playoffs this year and finished as the number 2 seed in the conference overall. And that's in a conference with teams like D.H. Conley and South Central, and they beat South Central this year, of course. Right. That was their signature win of the season, and he did it with no seniors. Right. He has no senior contributors on his team. So next year he's returning everybody from his team from this year. So I expect another really good season from him, and Coach Maurice Jones too. I mean, back-to-back Final Fours. Then he
also lost a 2,000-point score.
That's right.
And really him he really just kind of figured out that, hey, let's put Jakia on the ball and let's challenge her and let her step outside of her comfort zone. I think that's really going to help her entire basketball career to be able to not just be a great defender and great, shooter, but to be a complete basketball player who, can handle and be the offense on one end, then also step up and take a large defensive responsibility as well.
Absolutely. And, of course, Coach Jay Poole at North Johnston.
Oh, you can't say enough about Jay Poole, man. I mean,
that's our guy. Who
else could take a seven-girl basketball team and be able to compete every single night in a conference that had every single team make the playoffs?
Exactly.
That's truly what Jay Poole is, man. He finds a way to figure out with the talent he has to get them to the place where they need to be, and making the playoffs again, despite having depth and despite even a little bit of talent necessarily when you look at it from the fact of he has mostly softball players out there, and they're going against basketball players every night.
He has athletes out there.
Yeah, athletes.
But Coach Poole, obviously his team started off really hot and they kind of cooled off. But I mean, like you said, we can't say enough about Coach J. And he's got a lot of his team coming back, I think, correct?
Yeah, I believe 4 or 5 players are coming back from that 7. So maybe you can get some middle school kids in and fill out that roster and maybe give him some depth so he doesn't have to run everybody for the entire game.
Yeah, I mean, the record, I believe they were 14-12, but like they lost a lot of games really close. It wasn't like they were getting blown out of those games. So, I mean, I was there when I know they ended up losing in overtime to Southwest Edgecombe, but they were down 7 with 1:40 left, and you would think in a girls' basketball game that's game over, but they fought tooth and nail to come back and tie that game, and it shows a lot about his philosophies and how he coaches up those girls. So we got to give him his props for sure.
Right, now on to Boys Coach of the Year. The 5 finalists were Coach Medlin at Clayton, Brody Massengill at South Johnston, David Cobb at Princeton, Kroom at Goldsboro, and McLaughlin from Wayne Country Day.
And the winner is...
We have a code.
That's right, we do. Who
Coach
do we
Medlin and Coach Massengill.
All right.
Of course, this is a big discussion on Twitter not too long ago about who deserved the Conference Coach of the Year. Everyone was upset. I said I thought they should have gotten co-coaches of the year from the conference. So I said, hey, I can't go back on my word, even though I don't like co-coaches, even though I don't like any co-award or anything like that. We decided that, both deserve the award.
I mean, there's no really, I really don't think there's a question of like if either of them deserve it or not. They both deserve it.
Right.
Coach Massengill, as you've highlighted on many occasions, Kai, gets the most out of his rosters. And obviously having a great player like CJ Ray helps, but also having contributors like Dylan Bates and Sam and Webster and McLean and those guys, they've really like expanded their games and helped the team win. And what they win, 22 games?
22 games.
And I mean that's enough said. 22 games in a playoff win. I think a lot of coaches would take that, and especially with the roster that he has constructed and the way that they play their system. Another team that plays at a slow pace, and like I said, I like a system that wins.
Right. So, and then when you look at Coach Medlin, he was of course gifted with a lot of talent. But, I mean, even when you're gifted with a lot of talent, it's one thing to be gifted with it. It's another one to be able to win with it. Being able to go 26-3, being a game short of regionals, they did a great job. I mean, I think they went on a 24-game winning streak before losing to Westover.
2-2, right?
2-2. Started off the season 2-2. Only 2 losses were to a tough Garner team.
Number one team in the 4A, number one seed in the 4A East.
Right.
And the number one seed in the 3A East. Those are their only losses of the season.
So he lost to 2 very good teams. They only lost 3 times all year, lost to 2 teams. And, I mean, I think you can argue that they could have beaten Westover on another day. Every day we look at what they were dealing with when it comes to a former player passing away. All the kids that play with, it's always going to be a tough situation, but they righted the ship and they gave them a tough game. It's just Westover is a really good team and they take advantage of all mistakes and mishaps. So we look at it.
Didn't they improve by like 10 or so wins from last year?
Yeah, also improved by 10 to 11 more wins.
So yeah, I mean, I don't think there's a question. Of course, we also talked about Coach Jamal Kroom at Goldsboro. he obviously he has a very talented bunch, but like you said, he's gotten them to win and play the right way, and he's had one of the more exciting
I
teams.
truly believe that Goldsboro is going to have the best team in the area next year by far. You look at what he has. When you look at what he has coming back, he's losing a couple seniors, but I think he really got that team to understand how important defense was, and I think even the team kind of got to see how important defense is when you lose to a team like South Granville, who was a state title contender,
and will be next year as long as they have everybody back. So
right. So I think that he is on the brink of having a powerhouse potentially, especially when you look at what they have coming in from the middle school. Goldsboro always has really good talent, really good athletes, and I think Kroom is kind of figuring out how to get the best out of those guys and turn that into we have really good athletes into we win a lot of games.
He's one of my favorite coaches in the area because he always keeps it real with you.
Oh yeah.
He coaches them the right way, and he expects the best out of his players, and I love his style of coaching.
Right, and then when you look at Coach Cobb at Princeton, not many
Speaking
coaches.
of a guy who gets a lot out of his team.
Right, not many coaches could lose one of their two best players, a 14-point per game type of guy, and be able to win the type of games that he won. I believe I believe he only lost 2 games after Jaheim went out. So he only lost the game against Southwest Edgecombe, which was the day after Jaheim went out, and he only lost to North Edgecombe. So
I guess Edgecombe County has something on him, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, but those are two great programs.
Yeah, I mean, Southwest Edgecombe was, of course, one of the top teams in 2A, and North Edgecombe, of course, made it to regionals, and only loss was to Henderson Collegiate, which
they lost 2 games, I think. I forgot what the other one was, but they didn't lose. They were 27-1 before playing Henderson.
Right,
So,
right, exactly.
Yeah.
And then when you look at it, with what Cobb was able to do beforehand, I mean, the only 2 losses they had before Jaheim went out were to Clayton and South Johnston, both 3A schools. And
Clayton went to the 4th round. South Johnston won to the 2nd round. So yeah.
Right.
And it wasn't like they lost big. They were competitive in those games. So
right. And I think a lot of times what I really appreciate about Coach Cobb is how much his guys kind of feed into what he does. I can tell that he has a good pulse on his team and kind of understands, who they are and trying to get them to fit together. And like I said, the team changed a lot once Jaheim went out. Went from Jaheim being a main ball handler to the ball was directly in the nation's hands. Tyrese had to step up. Aiden Taylor had to be able to start and play well, and they mastered it well. The roles were perfect. But of course, you can't forget Coach Keith McLaughlin at Wanacoochee Bay. Year one goes to the state title game. Inherited a very talented roster who had already went to the state title game last year, but it's always going to be hard to repeat and to do what somebody else did. And I think he did a great job of managing what he had to do when you consider, Vontae Hutcherson missed about 5 to 6 games. You lost Julian Williams for the season in the Christmas tournament. And, I mean, he still only lost 5 games altogether.
It went, 28-5 or 29-5?
I believe it was 29-5.
Yeah, so obviously he'll have a great team coming back next year as well. Only senior main contributor, Linwood Grandy, who's going to be a college player somewhere. Hope soon we find that out. Hopefully, but
he has offers to play college basketball. So
yeah. I was going to say hopefully we find out soon.
Right.
But Coach McLaughlin, the one thing that the really positive thing that I saw is that he talked about it after their state championship loss to Davidson Day. It was when they finally figured out how to beat Greenfield.
Right.
Of course, that was a incredible game with one of the best shots we saw all season. Mike Best's game-winning three.
Right, our player of the year.
Yeah, play of the season. That's right. It was
Um,
really the second game, actually. It was the second Greenfield game where they lost, where they finally figured out what they had to do to become a
Right.
better team, and they went on a great run, and they beat a great Northside Christian team in the Final Four to get back to state championships.
Be a really
Ultimately,
good Gaston Day team at home.
yep, Gaston Day was actually a lot better than their record says. So, yeah, absolutely. They played a lot of good teams this year.
And then, of course, Wayne Country Day got more talent coming in.
Yep.
So,
Who knows? Who knows?
so I think that they should that no one should sleep on them to be right back where they are next year.
That's why at first when you said that thing about Goldsboro being by far the best team, I was like, Wayne Country Day's still gonna be pretty good too, right?
Hey, well, you know what? Goldsboro already beat Wayne Country Day this year, so
I'm sure WCDS wants their face back.
I'm about to say Wayne Country Day gotta get their face back, man.
Oh yeah,
That's all it is to it.
Yeah, absolutely. But they will be right back in the 2A state championship picture next year. They're gonna be great. I know it.
All right, girls defensive player of the year is the next award, and let's go through it here. The five finalists were Dariana Howard, Haley Woodall from Princeton, Talisha May from Southern Wayne, Janae Jones from Wayne Country Day, and Meredith Wooten from Princeton. And of course, drum roll please. Dariana Howard from Clayton wins Defensive Player of the Year. When you look at it, she was able to average, I believe. Let me look at real quick. She averaged 3.7 steals and 1.4 blocks per game. Her ability to be able to guard on the perimeter as well as in the post were invaluable for Clayton. She made life very hard for many offenses that they played. Her defensive tools, along with her athleticism, along with her instincts, she it's out of this world, man. I'm telling you, the potential that she has, I believe that she could easily become, the ceiling is the roof. Yeah. I honestly believe that she could be the best player in the 2023 class by the time this is up.
Man, I mean, I know that I'm definitely with you. I agree, but man, this 2023 class is just so ridiculously talented around here. From her to Amari Palmer at South Central, Kyle Silver at Conley. I know I'm getting into my area a little bit, but Dariana.
Oh yeah, no. I mean that she could be the best player.
Anna Taylor, Jakeem Brunson.
Yeah,
we've mentioned it, but Dariana has the potential to become an absolute cheat code offensively if she really gets right. And I can't wait to see how much she's improved over and during her sophomore season and this offseason into next year. So
right, and of course Haley Woodall was second for us because man, she was just hard to deal with there on the perimeter. 3 steals a night. Tough as nails, locked down, competes very hard. I think that's one of the things that made Princeton one of the best teams in the area was just they have a bunch of competitors on their team that don't like to lose. And when you have players who don't like to lose.
Absolutely not. They hate to lose.
Yeah, when you have a bunch of players who don't like to lose, it's very important to winning.
Of course, I believe her teammate Meredith Wooten was also on there, correct?
Yep. Meredith Wooten is probably the most competitive player I've ever been around. And it makes sense. Her mom's her coach. You look at it, her dad played in the NFL. It's it's a competitive household. I believe her brother played at Campbell for football as well.
I think he's still playing.
Yeah, I believe this year was the senior year.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I believe so. I could have that wrong.
But
excuse me if I'm wrong.
Meredith Wooten is one of the more competitive players in the area.
Yeah.
That young lady has instinct.
She takes it up another level when it's time to win.
Yeah, she comes for people's heads when the game's on the line. I'll tell you that.
Right, and of course when you look down the list, of course Janae Jones there at 4th. She is, an incredible on-ball defender. Really made some big plays down the stretch for One Country Day when they needed defensive stops. She was always the one that was tasked to do it. Her and Kimora Cox. I think Kimora Cox next year is going to be on this list as well. She was quite a defensive player. I think that Coach Jones has himself a really good foundation for next year. When we look at it, not Janae, but Kimora and Jakia, because Jakia is a really good defender as well, even though she didn't make this list.
Yeah, those three are going to be a huge part of their team next year, and they'll have a chance to get right back to the Final Four again. So
right, and then you look at Talisha May. Of course, she was big time for Southern Wayne as well.
Absolutely. You see her in stature, you probably wouldn't think like supreme bona fide great defender, but when you see her play, it's all heart and all hustle. And she had another play like the one I mentioned about Aiden Taylor a little bit earlier in the show, where the ball's going down in the backcourt, and you know how the player's just like jogging and going back to retrieving, and all of a sudden you hear woof, and there's Talisha May for the layup.
Right.
So yeah, she's got incredible hustle. She's a great offensive player too. I think she's got a lot of potential in that area as well, and she'll be a part of the team, a big part of the team next year.
Right. So let's move on to the defensive player of the year for the boys now. Finalists are C.J. Ray from South Johnston, Devin Brown from Eastern Wayne, Nation Waller from Princeton, Xavier Atkinson from Goldsboro, and Jaquise McLean from Goldsboro. And please, another drum roll, please, sir, drummer. C.J. Ray from South Johnston is the winner. Of course, when you look at it, he's tasked with guarding the best player on the floor, no matter what. If it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, he takes it. He was the one getting the assignment this year. Was the most versatile player, I think, defensively in the area. Just an incredible defender.
I wholeheartedly agree. Of course, I wish I had gotten to see South Johnston in person a little bit more.
Right.
Or at all. But
right.
You know me, a college student. But From watching C.J. Ray on film, defensively, he's just got a lot of really good. He makes a lot of good reads. He's got instincts. He's got the intangibles to be a great college defender at the next level. He's starting to hear from schools late in his recruiting process. Recently got offered by Averett University in Virginia, and he's got
offers from Davidson community as well.
Yep, absolutely. And here's the thing: he's not just a good defensive player. He's a great defensive player, but he's also great offensively too, and rebounds the ball great. So he's really like the all-around package, and I really wish more schools would offer this kid.
Yeah, but of course he has, like I said, offers from Davidson County, Averett, Bluefield, Johnson.
Those are all great offers.
Fayetteville Tech.
Yep.
Whoever gets him, I think they got a quality young man coming who's going to defend at a really nice level for them. Look at Devin Brown, like we were talking about earlier. He's become a bona fide rim protector, and I think that's what really helped lock into what Eastern Wayne wanted to do. When you look at it, Wesley Case is really good at playing the passing lanes. Desmond, he was very good.
Desmond Vaughn.
DV. Yeah, DD. Yeah, and then, of course, Demetrius Wright, he was very good defensively. But I think Devin was that center right there in that middle who made it really tough for anyone to get anything at the rim.
He was the anchor.
Right. He was the anchor to that defense. And I think he was a large reason why they were able to go on that third-round playoff run that they went to.
Yeah, absolutely. And, of course, Jaquise McLean at Goldsboro, are we surprised that he's on this list?
He got the toughest assignments.
That kid just goes. He's like the heart and soul of Goldsboro athletics, really. Like, he on the football field, he's ridiculous. And then on the basketball court, he guards usually the best guard on the opposing team or player on the opposing team.
And I believe he was a state qualifier in track as well last year. So, he's quite the athlete. I actually saw him earlier today at Wendy's. He works at Wendy's, so shout out to him.
That's nice.
Yeah. But anyway, really he took the toughest defensive matchup every single night. Even guarded Bobby Pettiford. That didn't go too well but that
Well,
doesn't go
in
well for
his
most people.
defense, yeah, exactly. It doesn't go well for most people.
And then we look at Xavier Atkinson. I think next year he's going to have to step into the point of being an elite two-way player. I believe this year he was able to be more off the ball and be able to play the passing lanes and be able to come help side for those blocks that he always got, those big pin blocks that go insane. He was great at that.
He's one of the
And,
more exciting players in the coverage
right.
area and in Eastern North Carolina in general. He's a character. He can really go.
Yeah, we see that.
He's like
get that certain look on his face. It's go time.
Like,
It's go.
Game over.
And of course, Nation Waller gets this award because at third because just face it, every single night he was pretty much tasked with guarding the best player on the team for the most part. And for the most part, he did a great job of doing that while also being a great offensive player. So, I believe, the one I most think about is the game at Rosewood, playing Roger Benjamin, held him to 9 points. I believe he held him to 9 points, and then then Tyrese Whitley scored 26 points. So, yeah, I think Nation he was the anchor for that defense as well. Just did a great job of taking on whatever they needed him to take on. All right. So now to the Big Woman Girls Player of the Year.
All right, we're getting down to the nitty gritty, aren't we?
The 5 finalists were Jakia Brunson, Anna Taylor, Dariana Howard, Meredith Wooten, and of course Wayne Country Day senior Lexi Jeffries, and Jakia Brunson, Player of the Year.
I was getting ready to do the drum roll. Well, that's okay.
We'll get it next time, man.
All right. Well, but nonetheless, yes, congratulations to Jakia Brunson, who won 2 awards. Obviously, was the most improved player and the Player of the Year in the area, and well-deserving a winner for both. Like we said, she's the complete package offensively. Could really rebound well for a guard. Push the ball in transition, can pass the ball well, shoot the ball well. Really efficient, of course. And she's, like I said, she's here to stay for a long time in Wayne County, and will be a huge reason why Wayne Country Day girls will have a chance to make it back to the Final Four. Yeah,
pretty much. I believe for the rest of her career that they'll be able to do that. Because I think more people are going to want to come play with her, man. She's fun to play with. Very selfless, moves the ball, doesn't take every shot. We've talked about pretty much every girl who was a finalist. The only one who really didn't get a chance to talk with was her teammate, Lexi Jeffries, who down the stretch actually became the bigger part of the offense because her size at 6'2" and being able to play the way she does was just hard for most teams to match up with.
Yeah, obviously, Jakia in that game against Trinity Academy of Raleigh had they ran the old double team Jakia at all costs defense, but she found ways to stay involved in the offense. She found ways to rebound the ball for putbacks and pass the ball well. And even when she wasn't getting her offense, she was defending well on the other end and making sure Lexi Jeffries got every touch in the paint. And Lexi was a big part of the team this year as well, and definitely will be missed. A great athlete all around. So
yeah, I mean Lexi, truthfully, since we haven't talked about her much, she's going to be one of the best girls basketball players to ever play at Wayne Country Day. You look at it, she was very close to being the school's all-time leading scorer for girls basketball. She made All-State 3 times, was All-Tournament 4 times, All-Conference 4 times. Was a 4-time CPIC conference champion as well. Won, I believe 50 straight CPIC conference championships. I mean, 50
Yeah.
games in her 4 years. I honestly believe that she could have played, at a very high level for college basketball had she wanted to pursue that. Of course, she's not. But,
No matter no matter what no matter what, she'll definitely be remembered as an all-time great WCDS Charger. So
right,
that's definitely anytime you can be an all-time great at your school is really cool.
right, right. Now, of course, let's move on to Boys Player of the Years. Here are the 5 finalists, sir. Let's go with B.J. Freeman to start off with from Clayton, C.J. Ray from South Johnson, Jaden Cooper from Wayne Country Day, Devin Brown from Eastern Wayne, and Nation Waller from Princeton. And the winner is B.J. Freeman from Clayton. This was a tough choice. BJ and CJ Ray are very close statistically. They finished 1 and 2 in the race, very close. And you could argue CJ Ray is probably maybe more important to his team necessarily. But you look at the way BJ Freeman played in the playoffs when he played when it was tough. BJ always seemed to come through for his team and be able to get that win. It's important, you finished, you were the last one. He was the last player playing on this list. And the only person he lost to was DeMarco Dunn. And DeMarco Dunn is, of course, very good. Yeah.
BJ Freeman, junior forward from Clayton High, 20 and 10, just about every game, very consistent. I think he might have had one game where he was under double digits, but other than that, consistent scoring threat at all three levels. Really, he can step out to three and knock a few down from there. He showed some mid-range touch a little bit. Can really get to the rim, can really handle the ball. Is also defensively down the stretch got better and better defensively.
Right. Of course, the big debate was that he didn't win Conference Player of the Year, but I mean, it is what it is. Coaches in that conference felt a different way, but just looking at the way that this season changed the perception around B.J. Freeman for his recruitment and his life is just so important. They gave him a lot more maturity, gave him, helped him be a better teammate, a better leader. It's been a tough year for him. I know he's had a lot of loss in his family and in his close circle. But I believe that this year was huge for his life when it comes to getting to the place where he wants to go, which I know he wants to go to, highest levels of basketball.
He's definitely going to do that. He's got like 10, 15 to 20 Division I offers.
Yeah. And I mean, that's all great, but now it's just all about finding the right fit for him. Of course, he won't be at Clayton next year because even though as a junior, he reclassified at Word of God, so now he's going to be has to go find a place in the NCISA or the cast or independent and figure it out. But I think that he is just. I think this season was just it was all BJ when it comes to how this changed his entire perception around him. He showed that he was not just a hothead with a lot of talent. He's just a great talent, great young man. And
he's really matured throughout the year. I think he's like really grown as a player and a person. Honestly, I think he's gonna be great wherever he goes next year. Hopefully it's not too far away so we can see him at some point.
Right.
But yeah, BJ, he's a really exciting player and he has a lot of flash and he has kind of like a presence where like BJ Freeman is here. People are here to see if he's going to do good or bad.
Right.
So he's a big time player, and we can't wait to see what's next from him, of course, and very well deserving winner.
Of course, CJ Rayman stepped up from being a post player to being a guard. Now looking at the chances of playing college basketball at a bigger level. It'll be interesting to see whether he chooses to go to a D3 like Averett or go NAIA 4-year that way, or if he decides to go to the JUCO route. I think he can. I think wherever he's going to go, he's going to be successful. He's very skilled, very hard worker. Did a lot to change his body so that he would be ready for this year. Shot the three ball extremely well, considering that he had never really been a big 3-point shooter.
Yeah, he really honestly, in terms of who has improved their game most, I mean, he has to be at the top for that, I think.
Right. But of course,
improving his skills and improving
proving his stock. Yeah. I mean, there isn't too many more better than CJ. And of course, Jaden Cooper. We haven't talked a lot about him. He honestly could have been on the defensive player of the year award list as well. Could have possibly even been on most improved, man. Just when you look at how much he stepped into being a bona fide number one scorer this year. I mean, he did it, without needing to take a bunch of shots. Most of the games that we went to, he did not lead the team in shots. His
very selfless basketball player.
Yeah.
When he gets the ball, he's going to score.
Yeah.
Or get fouled.
Yeah. He makes his free throws, hits his jumpers at a high percentage.
Extremely efficient.
Very, very athletic. Goes to the basket very well. Columbia commit. He's special, man. I'm telling you. I've seen a lot of basketball players come through Wayne County, man, and I haven't seen one who's quite like him when it comes to efficiency and the way he's able to shoot, score, and athletic at his size. I mean, he's 6'3", 6'4". You don't find those guys every day, so he's very special.
And he'll have a chance to get to 2,000 points next year, correct?
He would need to score a lot. He would need to be more.
They're going to play a lot of games, so he'll have a chance.
Yeah, I would say he would need probably about 25 points a game to do that.
Oh,
and
I think he could do it.
I mean, he could do it. He could, but I think they win more if he scores 15 to 16 again, or if he scores 18.
And that's what I like about Jaden. He's not going to come. He knows he can come out here and get 25 to 30 if he wants, but he wants the team to win first.
Right. I believe he's somewhere at 12 or 1,300 points, so I think you'll have a chance.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah.
So, I mean, if there are some injuries and if maybe some of the players don't come or some players leave out, hey, I mean, you could see a year where Jaden Cooper gets to just go crazy with the ball in his hand. But, he's something special. I think he's probably the most underrated 2021 kid in his class. But moving on, of course, Devin Brown, we talked a lot about him. The Nationwide, we talked a ton about them. We think the world of both of them, but I'm sure there will be some people who are like, how are none of the Goldsboro kids in there? It was very tough. The problem for Goldsboro kids were we couldn't figure out which Goldsboro kid to pick.
Yeah, I mean it's hard to pick.
You look at it, Christian was, he was probably their most consistent player. You look at Xavier Atkinson, he was probably their most explosive player. And you look at Takori Faison, he probably was their best player towards the end of the year. I mean, it was very tough for us to pick. So we'll put them tied for 6, all 3 of them. We'll put them in there at the bottom there. I mean, that's all the awards that we gave out. We hope that you enjoyed this show. It's very hard putting together these awards and putting together the list. It takes a lot of time, takes a lot of effort for me, we also consult other people to ask about awards and what they think as well. Shout out to Hoop Farm, Trey Corden.
Yep.
Shout out to Jay Anderson. Shout out to Clark. To Charles Clark. I couldn't remember his first name. I always just
what? How do you not remember your own first name of a guest on the show?
Hey, man, I have a lot going on in my life. It'd be tough. I ain't gonna lie to you. But
yeah.
So you can also, of course, hit us up on social media. Let us know what y'all think. Where we got it wrong, because I know y'all will. Y'all gonna tell us we got it wrong. Y'all gonna tell us we slept on somebody. Y'all gonna tell us that somebody should have been on somebody's all-county list. Y'all gonna tell us that somebody should have been on all WJG. Somebody should have been here. Somebody should have been there. Man.
My dog came into my room. This is Cletus, everybody. Say hi, Cletus.
Dog.
All right, buddy. All right, come on, you gotta get out.
All right, yeah, we are finishing up now. So you can pick them back up. We're finishing up. That's been the show, Just Like Bruddas podcast, episode number 41. Dr. Leica Abibi, the Pan African Prince.
No. But yeah, that's just that's you know where to find us on social media. This will be on Anchor, YouTube, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, anywhere with a podcasting platform, pretty much.
Yeah, we are everywhere. So yeah, that's our show. We appreciate y'all for watching.
Actually, one more thing. If we've said that we would love to have any student athletes on the show that would love to come on. Just hit us up.
Let us know if you want to come on the show, student athletes.
And anyone in general, if you'd like to come on and be a guest on our show, just let one of us know. Please
have some sort of affiliation with the sports world, though, local sports.
If you're like an ENC, we would love to have you. ENC.
Yeah, ENC. Yeah.
Absolutely. But yes, this has been
also
Just Like
subscribe to us on YouTube. Very close to 1,000, 109 away. Yeah. Come on, people.
Absolutely.
Help us out.
Absolutely. All right. I think that's all we got. So yeah, we will be back soon. Hopefully we'll have more shows for you down the road, and we'll see you again soon. Peace out.
Peace.